You can put your hand down. Ms. Story.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Ladies, I am informed, and obviously you have entered a plea bargain with the state. Before we do that, I'm going to put on the record certain rights and protections that you are entitled to. Each of you has these rights and protections. First of all, you have the right to remain silent. That means you do not have to make any statement. You don't have to answer questions. You don't have to submit paperwork that has your signature, especially papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. Secondly, you have the right to a jury trial. Each of you individually, with your attorney, can participate in selection of 6 people, 6 citizens from a jury pool of disinterested citizens who would hear all of the evidence, see and hear all of the presentations. Those 6 people would decide whether you're not guilty or whether you have been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Third, you have the right to confront witnesses. That means if you go to trial, any witness that the state puts up, you could question, cross-examine, or challenge. That's called the right of confrontation. 4, you have the right to appeal. That is a right where each of you individually, or your attorney individually, or together, you could demand, after all of this is over, you could demand that a higher court review the official record, the evidence in your particular case, for whatever legal challenge you wanted to make. Be aware that you'd have to use the right paperwork with the correct information, and you'd have time limitations involved. So it's a little bit, it's not real easy to do, but be aware that the right exists. Also, each of you and the state in your individual case has a right to demand that this proceeding be held in the open public courtroom. Because of the COVID pandemic, we're not doing that. What we're doing is video conference, but in order for you to proceed with this particular hearing, you should have, and I believe you have already reviewed a document titled Defendant's Consent to Video Conference. Now, you and the state each have that right in this particular case. Do you understand, and have you already understood and been informed concerning your rights and protections that I have discussed? Ms. Story.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hello.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Hernandez.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, there are I want to say a bunch, but there are documents that are part of this proceeding that have your signature. Those documents, including the consent to video conference, is it correct that each of you had the assistance and the guidance of your respective attorney in reviewing, understanding, and signing each of the documents in your particular file? Ms. Hernandez.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Story.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, among the documents, let's discuss, first of all, the document that all of these identify each of you respectively by name, case number, and court number. The documents, in particular, the document that is titled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. It includes for you individually, each of you, an acknowledgement that you know and understand the rights and protections that have been, I have mentioned, and others. Each of you has been informed, questioned, and informed that the deal that each of you has made respectively is not binding on me as the judge. As the judge, I have the authority and responsibility to decide yes or no on your plea bargain. Also, each of you will be entering a plea, and there will be a punishment. And that punishment, there is a range that covers the particular plea that you're going to do. If I give you a punishment within that range, and if it is heavier than what you had agreed to, or if I reject your deal outright, either of the two, then the law would allow you to start all over again, and nothing that you've said or signed would be used against you. Is that clear, Ms. Story?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hernandez? All right. Among the documents is one where I personally certified to each of you individually, respectively, that it is titled Trial Court's Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. I certify to each of you that because this is a plea bargain, your own deal, you will not have a right of appeal if you persist in your plea bargain. Did each of you see and understand that?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hernandez,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Story,
Yes, Judge.
hello?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, attorneys, did each of you assist and counsel your respective client in reviewing and signing the documents in this proceeding? Ms. Wood,
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, did each of you attorneys respectively sign an affirmation or declaration that the state has complied with Article 39.14 Texas Code of Criminal Procedure in reference to discovery? Mr. Hernandez,
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wood.
Yes, Judge.
All right. Now, state, do you have a motion on, yes, are these going to be deferred or straight probations or what?
Your Honor, I believe both will be, yes, both will be deferred probation.
All right, so that means you are making a motion on each case. What is the motion on specifically on Rosalinda Hernandez?
On this case, the state is moving to amend the information, adding count 2 of obstruction, and then moves to waive count 1 and proceed solely on count 2.
Ms. Wood, any objection?
No objection, Judge.
And do you also waive the 10-day notice
Yes, Judge.
on amendment? All right. On Ms. Story, is it the same motion, ma'am? Ms. Haas?
No, Your Honor, in this case, the state is moving to waive and abandon the extreme intoxication enhancement and proceed on a DWI first.
No objections, Your Honor.
Okay, I did not, there was some garbled sounds in the background. You are making a motion to waive and abandon?
The
Count one?
extreme intoxication enhancement and proceeding on a DWI first.
No objections from the defense.
All right. Now, Ms. Hernandez,
Yes.
do the charge of obstruction of a passageway, waterway. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
A no contest plea is considered a guilty plea in this court. And based on that, I can convict you here and now. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Story, to the charge of DWI first, that is misdemeanor B. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
Let me repeat that for both of you then and remind you both. A no contest plea is considered a guilty plea by this court and is sufficient in and of itself to convict you. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Story? Ms. Story?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, did anyone on either of you two individually, did anyone threaten you, intimidate you, or promise you anything other than the plea bargain in exchange for your plea of no contest? Ms. Hernandez?
No, sir.
Ms. Story?
No, sir.
All right. Now, state, would you inform us on the record what the agreement is on punishment for Ms. Hernandez? By the way, excuse me, I need to inform both of you, since you're both going to be granted deferred adjudication, I will not be convicting you at this time. That'll be deferred or postponed. As long as each of you lives up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, then your case will be dismissed and you're not convicted of the charge on which you are pleading. If you fail or refuse to live up to 100% of the conditions, and I mean that very literally, ladies, then the state may ask me to give you notice, bring you in for a hearing, and if it is appropriate in my mind, that is legally appropriate, then I will convict you at that point. That conviction will follow you the rest of your life. And I will be looking at 100% of the punishment range, which in these two cases would be, well, in the case of the obstruction, it would be a fine from $0 to $2,000 and jail from 0 days to 180 days. In the case of Ms. Story, if a conviction were to be entered, you'd be looking at a fine from $0 to $2,000, but then jail from a minimum of 72 hours to 180 days. Is that clear, Ms. Story?
Yes, Your Honor.
Clear, Ms. Hernandez?
Yes.
All right. Now, state, in the case of Ms. Hernandez, recite for me what the agreement is on punishment. Ms. Haas, you're muted, ma'am.
I realized that. Thank you, Judge. The agreement is for 12 months deferred, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service.
Is that 48, you said?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
DWI education, victim impact panel, TAP evaluation, and 6 months of ignition interlock.
All right. Ms. Hernandez, do you have children that you support or help support?
Yes.
How many?
5.
And what are their ages, ma'am?
I have 2, they're about to be 1-year-old twins.
Mhm.
I have a 10-year-old, 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old as well.
All right. Do you have the father to help support the kids?
Yes.
You said yes?
Yes, sir.
All right. What does he do for a living, more or less?
He's a CDL driver.
All right. Now, in your case, do you work outside the home?
I work from home.
And what is your income over the total income in your case?
About 35,000 to 40,000.
A year. So that's a roughly
year.
3,000 a month. All right. The court finds that you have, that based on your plea and the evidence, the court finds there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not. I approve and grant you 12 months deferred adjudication. I will fine you $500 plus court costs. You will perform 48 hours of community service restitution. You will do or complete the DWI education program, the victim impact panel. You'll submit to a TAP evaluation, and the recommendations subject to my approval. You will have 6 months of ignition interlock installed in your vehicle, continuous 6 months. During the 6 months, you're not to drive any other vehicle other than your own with the ignition interlock. Also, during the entirety of your deferred adjudication, you're not to drink any alcohol whatsoever. Not even a little sip of wine, nothing. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. Your supervisory fee will be $43 a month. Now, I don't know what your budget is or whether it's tight. I can increase the community service hours and decrease the fine, or I can leave it like it is. What is your choice?
Leave it like it is.
Then that's the way it will be. You and Ms. Story, I am ordering you to appear in the offices of County Court at Law Number 5 to have your thumbprint placed on legal documents as required by law. You will also meet, before you leave this hearing, you'll meet with Maricela Luna. She's called a court liaison officer. She's going to start you off on probation. Incidentally, for both of you, the probation office will read to you all of the conditions that will cover you that you're under. And you will sign those and you will have a copy in your hands. You will clearly know what the conditions are. Is that clear, Ms. Hernandez?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
Judge, on
Ms.
Rosalinda Hernandez, I'm sorry for interrupting. We just wanted to notify the court that she already completed the classes
All right.
and that when she filled out
You're talking about the DWI education and the VIP?
Yes, Judge.
And
She's
you
already
documented that?
Yes, we have the certificates.
The court gives you credit for those, ma'am. Good.
And the motor vehicles and household form she filled out, she put a vehicle that's not working on there.
Well, I'm sure she or her husband have, I presume it's a husband, she or the father of the children have a vehicle that functions.
They do. They have one vehicle, so we just ask that the ignition interlock device be put on that one vehicle and not the other vehicle she listed that does not work.
All right, we'll put it on the vehicle that operates. That's the one you have access to. If the one that's broken down gets repaired, then you have to have it done on whichever of the vehicles you regularly operate. Is that clear, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Anything else would be a violation and can get you in serious, serious trouble. Ms. Story, anything else, ma'am?
That's it, Judge. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Story,
Yes, Your Honor.
in your case, you have pled no contest. I find that there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not. You too are granted deferred adjudication. State, recite for me the agreement.
Yes, Your Honor, the agreement in Miss Story's case is 18 months deferred,
How many?
18,
Okay.
$800 fine plus court costs,
Say that again. How many?
800,
Okay.
48 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, TAP, and 9 months of ignition interlock.
All right. Mr. Hernandez, is this your agreement?
Yes, it is, Judge. And I like to address the court as well on other things, but yes, that's
All
our
right.
agreement.
Ms. Story, tell me how many children do you have, ma'am?
I have no children.
Pardon me?
I have no children.
0. Okay. And how do you make a living? And more importantly, how much is your income per month?
I'm in
Total from whatever source.
case management for social work, and I $3,000 a month is about the average.
All right. I'm getting a bad interference in what you're saying. Somebody help me. How much is she making per month?
I heard 3,000, Judge, average.
1,000 is average.
Okay. 3,000 per month. All right. Anything, do you have any other income?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And is this the agreement that's been recited, Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, Judge, I just want to address the court on,
Ms. Story, is this the agreement that you agreed to, the details?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Court accepts the recommendations of the state. You're granted 18 months deferred adjudication. You're fined $800 plus court costs. You'll perform 48 hours of community service restitution. You'll do or complete in good faith the DWI education program, the victim impact panel. You will submit to a TAP evaluation, and the recommendations will be subject to my approval. You will have installed in your vehicle for 9 continuous months the ignition interlock system. Your supervisory fee will be $38 a month. Are there any questions, Ms. Story?
No, sir.
Any questions, Mr. Hernandez?
Judge, I want to just address a few things. My client, this is the one we inadvertently took the plea back on October 4th.
Right.
My client has already completed the DWI education. She's already done the VIP live. So I'm asking the court to accept the certificate for the VIP live for this matter.
All right.
Judge, she went to the courthouse and already had her fingerprinted on the last purported plea. So I just want to make sure we're good with that. She doesn't need to return.
The last time that she submitted her thumbprint,
Okay,
the documents were not legally in force.
very well.
As you know, we've already screwed it up once. I'd rather have her come in and submit her thumbprint under the circumstances, just to make sure. All right. Now, ladies, let me make something.
Furthermore,
very clear.
Judge,
Go ahead.
may I continue, Judge? I got a few things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Judge, report on that last plea of October 4th, she went in and already did a TAP evaluation. We're asking the court just simply take those evaluation, and so she doesn't have to miss another half day of work.
All right, the court will accept in this case the TAP evaluation that was previously performed. The court will take judicial notice of it.
And lastly, Judge, with her social work class, social work employment, she's regularly required to go to Atascosa County. And so can we ask the court her availability to go to Atascosa County and back, and then she'll notify the probation officer if she ever has to do it overnight. But these are generally the same day trips.
The court grants permission for Ms. Story to travel back and forth between Bexar County and Atascosa County for her employment without restrictions, with the exception of the conditions of supervision that apply, for example, no alcohol, etc. But in reference to the travel, she has full permission. Anything else?
No, Judge, thank you.
You're welcome. Ladies, both of you be careful. Right now is a bad time because the season is a time when people want to drink and offer you drinks. Do not drink any alcohol, and of course stay away from any illegal substances. Be aware that if for any reason you wind up getting convicted, the state will come after you and add their own fine of about $3,000 individually. So please be careful. This will conclude these two pleas. Ladies, thank you for your patience.